working example number 2, solve equations. Kia is making a square quilt with a 4 centimeter border around it. So we've got a picture here. This is a 4 centimeter border. She wants the quilt to have a perimeter of 600 centimeters. So perimeter is the outside added all together. Find the lengths of the sides of Kia's quilt before she adds the border. Now it is square, so all 4 sides are the same. So she wants to know what this S value is. That's the side of the quilt. If it's a 4 centimeter border, we've got 4 centimeters at the bottom and the top, so we know that the side length here is a full S plus 8. So we're going to start by writing an equation. Let S represent the length of the side before the border is added. A 4 centimeter border is added to each side length, so that's S plus 4, which is just S plus 8. There are 4 sides to the quilt perimeter, so the overall perimeter is 4 times that S plus 8. The perimeter is 600 centimeters, so we know that if it's 4 times this S plus 8, that has to equal 600. And then if we can solve this equation, we'll know what S is, so we'll know what the side of the quilt itself is. So we have an equation now. Now we have to figure out how to solve it. And to do that, we're going to use something called the distributive property. This is a very handy technique that you really need to get used to. You'll use it in grade 9, you'll use it in grade 10, 11, 12. It will be beneficial. It's called the distributive property. And it looks something like this. So if you have a number and it's times something in brackets, so let's say B plus C is in the brackets, what that means is you can rewrite this as A times B plus A times C. So you're distributing A across both of the terms that are in the brackets. So when you multiply each term inside the brackets by the term outside the brackets, that's called the distributive property. So in this example, 2 times x plus 3, you take 2 times x, that's the first part, and then you use add, which is here, and then 2 times 3. So this becomes 2 times x is just 2x, plus 2 times 3 is 6. So it becomes 2x plus 6. These are equivalent statements, but we've used the distributive property to simplify it. So, going back to our quilt question now, let's have a look. We have an equation, 4 times s plus 6 equals 600. We can do this a couple of ways. We can divide both sides by 4 to get rid of this coefficient in front of the brackets. So divide by 4. If you do that on the left, you do it on the right. That leaves you with s plus 8 on the left. And then 600 divided by 4 is 150. Now you've got this s plus 8 equals 150. You can use the opposite operation. So in this case it's plus, so we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So s plus 8, we're going to subtract 8. We subtract it on the left, we subtract it on the right. These two 8's cancel out, leaving you with s on the left. And then 150 minus 8 is 142. So the side length of the quilt before the border is added is 142 centimeters. So that's one technique. We can also use the distributive property to solve this as well. So we take 4 times s, becomes 4s, plus 4 times 8, which is 32. That is now equal to 600. So we want to get this variable by itself. This 32 is hanging on. We want to move that constant over to the other side. So we're going to subtract 32 from the left. And if we do that on the left, we have to do it on the right. 32 minus 32 is 0, so that leaves us with 4s on the left, which is shown here. 600 minus 32 is 568. Now we've got 4s equals 568. In order to get that variable by itself, we need to divide both sides by 4. So on the left, 4 divided by 4 is 1, which leaves you with just s. And then 568 divided by 4 gives you 142. So in this particular instance, the distributive property actually is more complicated math as opposed to the divide first, but you won't always be able to do this simply. So having both strategies available to you can be very beneficial. All right, so that's the distributive property. Let's do some more practicing. Turn the page. We're given a question, -4 times x minus 5 equals 24. First method, dividing. So we can take this and we can divide both sides by this -4. Then that leaves us with x minus 5 on the left. 24 divided by -4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. So now we have x minus 5 equals -6. In order to get x by itself, we're going to add 5 to both sides. So we've added 5 on the left, add 5 on the right. This -6 carries down. So these 5's now cancel, leaving with just x on the left. -6 plus 5 is equal to -1. Here's just a reminder here as well when you're dividing positives and negatives. So in this case it was a positive divided by a negative, gives you the negative response. And again we're adding 5 to both sides here. So x equals -1, that's our solution. Now we can use the distributive property as well. Back to the same question. -4 times x becomes -4x. -4 times -5. 4 times 5 is 20. Negative times a negative is a positive. So in this case, it's a positive 20. And the 24 stays the same. So we've got -4x plus 20 equals 24. We want to move the constant over to the other side, get it away from the variable. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. 20 minus 20 is 0, so we're left with -4x on the left. 24 minus 20 is 4. And -4x divided by -4, we'll get rid of this -4. But if we divide that side by -4, we divide the right side by -4 as well. So we're left with x on the left. 4 divided by -4 is going to give you -1. It's the same solution as we had when we divided first up here. But in math, there's frequently multiple ways to get at something, and some people will be more comfortable with distributive, some people will be more comfortable with divide. There will be instances in the future where distributive property is a better approach though. Now, let's check our answer. We've done it 2 ways, so I'm pretty confident that it's right. Go back to the original question, -4 times x minus 5, that's the left side, and it was equal to 24, so there's your right side. Take your answer and substitute it back in wherever there was an x. So, rewrite it, -4, bracket, we've got an x, so we're going to put -1 in, minus 5, bracket. Then, BEDMAS says do the brackets first, so the -4 outside stays there. -1 minus 5 is -6, so that's the inside of the brackets done. Now we can do the multiplication. 4 times 6 is 24, negative times the negative is positive, so it's positive 24, which was the right side. So we've now confirmed those numbers match. We're good. The answer is correct. X is in fact equal to -1. All right, we've got another show you know. Please do that.